Good afternoon. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order. Is there any public comment for closed session? Hearing none, seeing none. Before we recess to closed session, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you. There are 3 items on the closed session agenda. The first one's conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in one case, Holzer versus City of Redlands et al., San Bernardino Superior Court, case number CIVSB 2322787. Item number 2, conference of real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The real property in question has an APN number of 0292-166-080000. This is the Grove School. Agency negotiators are Charles M. Duggan, City Manager, Christopher Boatman, Assistant City Manager. Negotiating party, Dr. Michelle Sweezey, the head of the school of the Grove School, and under negotiation is terms of possible property transfer to the Grove School. And the last item is performance evaluation of public employee, Government Code Section 54957B1, the position city manager.
Thank you. We stand in recess to closed session. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'd like to reconvene the City Council and have a report of our closed session report. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 on the closed session agenda, there was no reportable action. Item number 2, there was no reportable action, and let the record show that Councilmember Davis recused herself from a consideration of item number 2 on the closed session, as her home is located 500 feet from the subject property. And item number 3, the City Council did not discuss this item tonight.
Okay, thank you. I'll now turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem Shaw for our invocation and pledge of allegiance by the students from Cram Elementary School.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. As we gather tonight, let us pause to acknowledge the tragic events of this past week. In a time when political violence has undermined our sense of safety, we are reminded how fragile civil discourse and public trust can be. Every day we send our children off to school, later on to college, with the belief that they will become better educated, more prepared, and inspired to be good members of society. We expect, not only in hope, but as a right, that they will be safe, that they will be free to learn, to debate, to hear opposing views, and to grow without fear. I think these recent events have caused many of us to pause and reflect on the current state of affairs. Utah's Governor Cox said it very well last week as he described the crossroads we find ourselves facing when he said, "We just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be." So tonight, as we conduct the work of our great city, may we be guided by compassion, courage, and a commitment to uphold safety and respect in our words, in our actions, and in our decisions. May we honor the memory of those who've been harmed or killed while striving to create a community where every voice is heard, every person is protected, and the next generation can thrive in peace. Amen. All right, Fram.
Come on up.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Students, just stay right there. You may be seated. We're going to take a picture with you. Council members, if you join me, down below.
Thank you.
Behind you here. Excuse me.
Good job. Hello there. How you doing?
Come forward just a little bit there. There you go.
All right. A little closer.
There we go. Perfect. I can see already. It's a shot.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of cameras.
Big smiles and 1, 2, 3. Look this way, look this way.
Thank you. How about a big round of applause? For our-
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
We'll see you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You guys did well.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, next on our presentations, we have the Adult Literacy Program. Don McHugh, Director of A.K. Smiley Library, and Diane Shimoda, if you want to join me up here. We have a proclamation, and I know you have somebody that you want to acknowledge. And Mr.
Bill Hatfield Library.
Bill Hatfield, yes, thank you. Haven't seen you in such a while, so thank you. And again, this is a proclamation commemorating adult literacy, and I'll just read a few of the whereases. Whereas adults in Redlands seek to improve their literacy skills through Redlands Adult Literacy Program so they may get a job or advance in employment, build and improve small businesses, help their children in school, and work toward their own higher education. Whereas the Redlands Adult Literacy Program provides vital literacy assistance through one-on-one tutoring and computer classes and family literacy programs. And whereas the Redlands Adult Literacy Program works collaboratively with the community partners, including the Redlands Unified School District, First Baptist Church of Redlands, the YMCA of East Valley, to advance the literacy in Redlands. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Redlands does hereby proclaim Redlands September 28th, 2025 as Adult Literacy Day in the City of Redlands and calls upon our residents to promote literacy efforts to education programs throughout our community. And I'll turn it over to Don, and if you have a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All of us at Smiley Library, President Hatfield, the trustees, the staff are very proud of our adult literacy program. So you've read the whereases about how important that program is. I'd like Diane Shimoda to say a word or two and introduce the other fine members of this organization.
Thank you, Don, and thank you, Bill, for being here. Thank you, Mr. City Manager and City Council. I appreciate all of your support over the years for the Adult Literacy Program. We appreciate the support that we receive from the city, from the library, from local donors, and especially from our volunteer tutors. Without community support, the Adult Literacy Program would not be possible. We are grateful. The Redlands Adult Literacy Program is about to publish the 8th volume of our anthology, Our Stories, a collection of writings. I would like to invite City Council members, and Catherine has an invitation for you, and Charlie, one for you too, to join us on September 29th at the Contemporary Club at 2 o'clock to hear adult learners read their stories aloud. With me today is Katerina Biryukova. She is an extremely motivated adult learner, and her tutor, Catherine Gifford. Katerina is a learner leader in our program and a volunteer. I have asked her to share her story with you.
Good evening. I would like to thank the City Councilor and the community for their support of our adult literacy program. This program is a unique and priceless addition to the City of Redlands. It supports various groups of adult learners by fulfilling their needs in personal, different way. Every learner has their own reasons to look for literacy help at our library. I came to the United States following my husband, who got employed by Esri. I became a housewife, busy with children, and cut off from my culture, my people, and my language. I was anxious to communicate, either in a verbal or written way, with anyone in English. I wanted to get practical knowledge, how to write a letter to my children's teacher or a resume in an appropriate manner. I was eager to understand the language fully and be precise. I wanted to fit into my new community and not be embarrassed. I'm still on my journey, but I'm more confident now expressing myself. Thanks to our adult literacy program, especially to Dan Shimoda and my tutor, Catherine Gifford, I graduated from a statewide leadership program. I led an inspiring workshop on self-esteem at our library. I have been sending writings to the anthology and volunteering within the program. I got my citizenship. My life has changed. The Redlands Adult Literacy Program is very successful. Why? Because of people, caring and heartful, who are ready to give their best, whose generous work and volunteering make a huge impact on adult learners' lives. We need you, dear people of Redlands. Thank you.
All right, our next presentation is a proclamation to Pablo Eddie Chacon for his 100th birthday. But before I get to that, I just want to acknowledge that it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And Post 650 in Redlands is the Philip Marmolejo American Legion post, founded in 1949 to honor Hispanic Americans World War II veterans, to provide service-related benefits and promote patriotism and community service through the scholarships and youth programs. The post was named after the Hispanic American community contributions to the war efforts and continues to be a significant force in civic, educational, and veterans activities at all levels. The first commander was Odie Martinez, a decorated World War II veteran who later became the Redlands mayor. And I just want to say what an honor it is for me to be here in this position as the mayor from the community of North Redlands, and also a Son of the American Legion member for 14 years out at that post, and really just trying to do what we can for our community. And I really appreciate the show of support from our Legionnaires from Post 650. And after I read the proclamation and give it to his daughter, Karen, I'd like our veterans to come up so we can take a picture. Those of you that are in your cover and your uniform. So let me read you a little bit about who Eddie Chacon is, or Pablo is his first name. Whereas Pablo Edward Chacon, a.k.a. Eddie, was born in San Bernardino on September 24th, 1925, and will soon be 100 years old. Whereas as children, Eddie and his sisters enjoyed taking trips to the city of Redlands, always admiring its beauty, charm. They often talked about one day living there, a dream Eddie ultimately fulfilled for himself and his family in 1956. And whereas Eddie enlisted in the United States Navy at the age of 17, and in 1942, and worked as a mechanic mate machinist mate, operating and fixing systems crucial to the ship's operation. His services include the Pacific Theater, the European Theater, and the American Theater. And whereas early in his military service, Eddie met Caroline Nancy Lozano from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a lasting relationship was formed which distance could not break. When he was deployed, she wrote to him daily, and when honorably discharged from the United States Navy on December 30th in 1945, he was discharged to Pennsylvania to start their family. Eddie and Caroline were married for 56 years. We had a correction on that, right, Karen? And had 3 children, Eddie, Doreen, and Karen. Eddie eventually followed his dream to move to his family to Redlands in 1956. He opened Eddie's Barbershop on Orange Street. How many of you went to Eddie's Barbershop, right? Yeah, I remember. I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 1957, so it wasn't years later that we were down. And that's the honor and privilege I get to be here, to experience this as folks in our community. So where his first haircuts became a memory for so many residents like myself. Eventually, he opened 2 other businesses on Orange Street. Stanton Liquor. You know where the coffee, tea, and bean place is? That's the Deming building. And Eddie had a liquor store, Stanton Liquor, there. And he also ran the old pool hall right there on Orange Street. Eddie has also been an active member of the American Legion for 70 years and a proud member of Post 650. Being a part of a diverse community with common goals and hardships, the American Legion Post 650 became a second home for him and his family. Through his volunteering with the Legion, he also fostered a strong sense of inclusion and connection to the community of Redlands. Whereas Eddie Chacon's 100th birthday marks not only a personal milestone, but a celebration for the entire Redlands community. His life reflects the values that make our city strong: dedication, kindness, and a deep commitment to family, neighbors, and veterans. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Redlands does hereby recognize Eddie Chacon's 100th birthday on September 24th and honor his service to our country and to our community. Happy birthday, Eddie. Karen, if you want to come join me up front and accept this proclamation. And if you wanted to say a few words, and then we'll have our veterans if you want to. If not,
They didn't tell me I was going to have to say a few words. I just really want to thank everybody who's here and everybody that's been part of our family. And if you know my father, you know that family means friends, means family, right? You're all part of our family. So thank you so much. And thank all of you for the consideration.
well, thank you so much. And I remember going and getting a haircut at Eddie's Barbershop. If you remember, the College Shoe Repair was right there. Fed Mart used to be right there. And I think, as a young man, we'd have to get up on the barber chair, and he put a little board across there because we weren't big enough. And I think years later on, that was my first shave that he gave me. But although there wasn't much to shave, it was just going through the motions. But I felt like a man in a barbershop when Eddie gave me my first shave. So, did you get a picture already? Okay.
Karen and I graduated from Redlands High School together, class of 72.
All right. Can I have all the Legionnaires come up and Sons of the American Legion, come on up, Ruben. And stand behind us. Karen, come up here. Come up here, right here in the middle. You guys stand behind us. Cool. Oh, yeah. Come on up. You also have an opportunity to take some pictures outside, if you'd like.
My sister's here.
Your sister, come on up. Where is she? Oh, come on up. Oh. Doreen? Stand here next. She can stand next to you over here. Come on, over here. No. Come on. You're the. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you all for coming on up. Next on our presentations, we have a recognition of military service member whose banner has been retired from the Redlands Hometown Hero Military Banner Program. I'm going to ask Facilities and Community Services Director Crocker to come join me down up front. There you are.
The Redlands Hometown Heroes Military Banner Recognition Program recognizes and honors Redlands residents and their immediate family members who are actively serving in the United States Armed Forces. The program recognizes these individuals by displaying banners along city streets. This evening, we'd like to recognize and show appreciation to Jeffrey Rendler for his service to our country. Jeffrey is a sergeant first class in the Army, and his banner was flown over the streets of Redlands from July 2015 to July 2025. Acknowledging his service and the retiring of the banner, the city would like to present this item to the family tonight.
Come on up, Michelle and Dan. Thank you for your son's service. Here's the certificate, and you do have that one, and they have.
So this has been this flag. The banner has been up for a very long time. So
You want to say?
Thank you.
Well, first of all, it's very fitting that we have this military recognition right after Eddie and his incredible service. So, my congratulations to the City Council for your thoughtful timing of this effort. But we're very proud of Jeff. He recently medically retired, so it's the timing is right. And yes, this has been up for a long time. We're proud of him and his service in the Army, but we're also very proud of all of our military and all the different branches and everything they've done to keep our country and all of us safe. So we're just grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I want to thank everybody for their patience and attention to these presentations. It's very fitting that we have these presentations and acknowledge folks in our community that have done significant contributions. So I want to thank you for that as well. Moving on to our public comment, I have one public speaker, Undu Rolberg. Yes, come on up. So please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes. You'll have a set of lights, green, yellow, and then the yellow comes on. You'll have 30 seconds to wrap up your comments, and thank you for coming.
My name is Udo Rolberg. I live in the 4th District, Banning, California. I used to live in Redlands, and I'm so glad when this council meeting started that we all agree in this room with the tragedy that happened just recently that we need to tone down the tense and hostile political climate. And this is the reason that I'm up here. And again, as a disclaimer, I completely condemn all forms of violence, whether it's coming from the left and the right. But my wife noticed something very disturbing coming back from Costco, heading back home to Banning. And it was on the overpass near the Wabash area. And there was a sign that was being put up, and she took a picture of the sign, and it said, "Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk," no problem with that. And then the sign said, "The left just woke up, a sleeping giant, it will soon regret." And as a citizen, I'm very deeply disturbed by that kind of language at a time when we should be toning down any forms of violence or reducing a hostile political climate. I just wanted to bring your attention to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have no further comments. Do I have any public comments on Zoom?
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Just real quick, just for everyone to know, we have researched this. If it's on an overpass, the city does not have jurisdiction, Caltrans does. So we notified them if there's a banner placed up hanging from any of the Caltrans overpasses, but it's not something that we are empowered to go do something about.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Moving on to our consent calendar. I don't have any request to pull anything. I don't have a request to pull any item.
I move that we accept the consent calendar.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrich?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes. I just realized I so moved when I should have said second.
Wait, I missed the joke. What?
Yes. I vote yes.
Okay. Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to communications. J1, this is a report on recommendation to the ad hoc committee of the City Council regarding a selection of a lead labor negotiator to represent the city during up-and-coming contract negotiations with the city's bargaining units and possible direction to staff. Mayor Pro Tem Shaw and Councilmember Davis. Who wants to start?
Okay. So back on our July 15th meeting, I believe it was, there was a discussion about selection of a labor negotiator as we move into this period of contract negotiations between now and the middle of next year. And the ask was that we do some interviews and so ultimately come up with a recommendation as far as somebody to select for that role. Councilmember Davis and I we volunteered to take that on, and so we interviewed a handful of labor attorneys, labor negotiations experience, and ultimately we recommend to retain John Bakit to be our chief labor negotiator for this upcoming series of negotiations for whatever bargaining units we deem fit that he needs to be engaged with. It may not be all 9. But that is something that as we work through this with the city, that a determination will be made on which ones he is involved in. Anything else on that?
Well said. And thank you so much for taking the time, Mayor Pro Tem Shaw, to be on this ad hoc committee with me. I'll just say we were really impressed by Mr. Bakit. He has unique experience being on both sides of the table in terms of labor and management. He's a former police officer. The city has worked with him before, as we understand, in different capacities. So we are hopeful that this will work out moving forward.
Are there any questions or comments for the ad hoc committee?
Just a comment here. I appreciate the time that both of you took out of your days to do this for us. I think that what you did was on behalf of all of us. I appreciate what you did. So yeah, I'm ready to support this.
Okay. And I do want to thank both of you too for the time and consideration for selecting and making this recommendation. Thank you.
Do we have to vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there any public comment? I don't have any speaker slips. Anybody on Zoom? Nobody on Zoom? Okay. Now we're ready. Thank you, Madam City Attorney.
I move to direct staff to retain John Bakit of Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo to serve as the city's lead labor negotiator for the city's upcoming contract negotiations with its bargaining units.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrich?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Moving on to item J2. This is a discussion and possible action relating to the potential revenue ballot measure for the November 2026 election. Councilmember Tejeda, this is your item.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you to staff for supporting the work that was done to write the staff report on this. I know there are several items that have always been on my radar when it comes to potential avenues for revenue. One of those has always been the paramedic the paramedic tax. I did some numbers on it. I realized that there's some disparities. I didn't know until I read the staff report that it was written in, or that it was adopted in 1982, at a time when Redlands, the census data shows that there were approximately 43,000 people in this town, and now we've grown to 73,000 people, all this time later, and we haven't made any adjustments to. And typically, when there is an item like that, there are adjustments to those things so that we keep up with the cost. And just as it's stated in the staff report, the paramedic tax is actually contributing a portion of the cost. It's not capturing the entire cost. And so I think I'd like to have staff dig down a little bit deeper to see what the cost recovery should be on that. Excuse me. The second item was the business license tax adjustment for the fulfillment centers. Back when this was increased to 10 cents, 10.5 cents a square foot. There was no escalator on it, and as I stated earlier, there's typically a cost of living adjustment escalator on those things. I think we should visit that to see if that's necessary. I think there's also a statement in there saying that we would have, had there been an escalator on there, that we would have seen some additional revenue. And last but not least, the option to consider parcel tax for distribution fulfillment centers. This is something that is just a thought, and I would like the council to just consider. If there's no appetite for that, then I understand. But I think it's incumbent upon us as council members to look at where revenue is coming in and where it's stagnant, what the reason is for that, and see what we can do as council members to make sure that our staff have the tools, especially the funding that they need for the services that the city provides. And that's the end of my comment.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Tejeda. Are there any questions or comments to Mr. Tejeda before we go to public comment? No? Okay, I have two public comments. Mr. Dennis Bell.
Yeah, good evening. Why does the city need more revenue? Is it because the city is going to lose about $3 million a year from Amazon as it reclassifies its operations, the economy slowing down, new employee contracts next spring, and no anticipated development impact fees from stalled transit village projects? Or does it just need more money to continue the spending on non-revenue generating, non-essential cultural amenities? I thought the Measure T slush fund money was for police and fire. Enough of the crowd that hoodwinked voters into passing the toothless Measure T are still around. The rest left their beloved Redlands. And one-time former city manager Enrique Martinez proposed a parcel tax to fund the library. As much as people proclaim their love and support for it, that tax idea got no love or support. The city doesn't need more revenue. It needs to reprioritize its spending. It needs to quit giving away the public's money like it's Halloween candy. City has a lot of nerve proposing these taxes when it just approved millions for the operation and maintenance of the historical museum. The city is incapable of handling the public's money. If the city really thinks it needs more revenue, it should add a yearly CPI/inflation adjustment to the paramedic tax that was left out when it was passed, or increase the hotel occupancy tax, or better yet, a tipple tax/surcharge on every alcohol drink poured in all the watering holes. That seems to be the only type of business the city can attract. Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Bill Blankenship.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, staff. My name is Bill Blankenship, resident of Redlands. I live at 63 Summit Avenue. And my pleasure to be here. I also do a lot of work in the logistics industry. As was previously stated, in 2022, November, the city increased their tax to a business license tax on the logistics industry. Previously, there was a parcel tax before that. I think looking to tax the industry again probably is not the right approach. Definitely not the right approach. I also believe that instead of instructing staff tonight to go off and do a bunch of work in this space and that, I think that we need to maybe look at bonds and those sorts of things. It's not clear to me what is the need yet. I know there are several projects that are in the future, a police station, some future fire stations, those sorts of things. Maybe there's another way to fund those versus looking to other taxes, bonding, and those sorts of things. So I respectfully urge the mayor, council to not go down this road tonight and look towards a different direction in funding these priorities and look at that. I did do a little bit of research before I came here, and the City of Redlands, as you all know, has a 8 3/4 cent sales tax. Most of your neighbors, San Bernardino, Victorville, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Hesperia, Redlands, all are at 8 3/4. Chino Hills are the real outliers at 10.5%. But most of the cities are around that. Hesperia is at 7.75%, and currently the city collects approximately 2.5 cents. Cent and a half of that is a special tax. Another penny, if you will, or percent is a general tax. So the voters of Redlands, I believe, have been fairly generous to give cities other opportunities to collect revenue. And if it's decided that public safety is the goal that needs to be funded, I think it's the whole community's job to fund public safety, not one industry, not one business. Thank you for that, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Any public comment on Zoom? Nope, no public on Zoom. What's the wish of the council? Is there any questions or comments?
Okay, make sure I understand what we're doing. We're going to the voters, see if they want to raise the revenue. Is that correct? We're not voting for an additional tax?
Well, what you're being asked specifically tonight is to direct staff to go out and do research, spend money to bring back more information for the council, then to decide at a future date whether we augment the business license tax on warehouses to have an escalator, probably done by CPI. Three separate things. One, change the paramedic tax to where it charges more, so it's a higher tax rate for logistics centers. And then the third would be to put a new parcel tax specifically on logistics centers. Or if our research comes back and says there's a better way to do it, either by square footage or something like that, we would bring that information back to the council. So the council isn't necessarily, you could tonight direct staff to move forward with all three of these and get them done. But what we think is that at the very least, if you want to pursue these, have us do some more information, engage. We do have it listed here, engage with a firm to conduct a comprehensive service level costing and fiscal analysis, and also engage with a company to do some surveying and public opinion surveys to see if this is a non-starter when it comes to the voters next November.
And I'd just like to add really quickly, as I looked at the paramedic tax and looked at the how it was, and you told me it was adjusted, or what was it, scaled, or?
It had an escalator.
No, the way it was parsed out.
Oh, it's proportioned by the size of the square footage of the building?
Right. So when I looked at it, smaller square footage was charged actually a higher percent versus the larger sizes that were charged even smaller. So for example, anything from 0 to 4,999 square feet is 8 thousandths of a penny per square foot. When you get to something that say is 100,000 square feet, it's 2 cents a square. It's 2 thousandths of a penny per square foot. And so there's an opportunity for us to look at that and in my opinion, actually reduce the amount that smaller sizes pay and make it proportional. And I'll give you an example. So if the average percentage is, let's say, 4/1000ths of a penny, applying it straight across, and then maybe applying an escalator from there. That way, most of the people paying the paramedics tax would actually see a reduction. And then if you do the rest of it by square foot, then we're actually collecting by square foot the way we should be. At the moment, the reason why it's almost 2 cents or 2/1000ths of a penny is because the larger parcels, or the larger properties pay up to 39,000 square feet, and for every 20,000 square feet, they pay an additional dollar amount, not necessarily in line with the 20,000 square feet that they're asked. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't match, right? So 20,000 square feet is charged 8/1000ths of a penny, but they're actually only paying, I think something like 4/1000ths of a penny, something like that. So it just doesn't match. So, and I'd like to make sure that at the end of the day, if we're going to do something with the paramedic tax, that we actually see a reduction, for some folks, and then make it fair straight across the board.
City manager, how much time and what do you estimate the cost to try to come up with some type of formula? Or if we actually want to do this? Like I said, for the record, I'm not in favor of raising any taxes at this point. We have to remain. Let's use the money we have right now. Much less, it would be unfair to tax one particular industry as opposed to another. Like if we raised the TOT, was proposed some time ago. I'm still confused even when you start figuring the, percentages and so on and so forth. And if I can't get it, of course, I'm not a math major, but a lot of people don't get it as well. I don't want to spend an additional amount. Again, if the citizens want to vote for a tax, then it's up to them, and I'll go along with it. But I won't go along with raising anything remotely to do with taxes.
Well, my initial inspiration for this really is public safety, to make sure that public safety is funded into the foreseeable future, to make sure that we have specific funding for the public safety.
I understand that, but that's what Measure T was voted for, 1 cent. We raised $20 million, if I'm not mistaken, the last report we had.
True. I'll just argue back that it was also other items on Measure T that the reason why it passed is because it was supposed to provide so much more. We were supposed to get back to staffing levels, which we're not there yet. I know we have, if we lived in a perfect world and we had, applicants getting approved, we could fund them, but we don't. And so it's in my opinion, it's due to the fact that we can't offer a better salary. What we're offering right now is what we've approved, through Measure T, and what we can spend right now. And so we promised people that we weren't going to use Measure T specifically for public safety, but we were going to do all these other things. There was a menu of items. And so I think it behooves us to look for a way to have, the paramedic tax is already approved by the voters. We'd just be adjusting it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a question on that. It was unclear to me in how you were describing your calculations. If we went through with what you're proposing, how much would revenue change for us?
That's why we have to give them direction and do more work.
But is there, given what you were saying about adjustment, is there a chance that we could be bringing in less money?
I didn't go that deep into the calculation, so I mean, perhaps.
Okay, that was my concern.
Perhaps, but I doubt it, because we like I said, when we approved this, we approved it in 1982. Hasn't been changed, so but I don't know until staff does the extra research.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
I'll go ahead. I don't think I'm in favor of any of the proposed tax increases for revenue. Although what did pique my interest is, even while I was an employee, there was this support, or the general fund was supporting the paramedic tax. And I think that's one of the things that is listed here in the staff report, that over time, the cost to support the paramedic service has grown to exceed the tax revenue, so that the city has diverted general revenues from other sources to supplement it. So the city council may ask voters to increase the paramedic tax to a rate that covers more or all of the city paramedic tax. This would free up general revenues currently diverted to paramedic tax services. So if anything, I would be interested in that piece of it, but I'm not in favor of any of the other proposals as it's laid out in the report.
In looking at these, I think the only, kind of similar to the mayor, the one that I'm curious about is that paramedic tax or partial assessment is from 1982. So if, without spending $115,000 on a study, is there a way to kind of look into that paramedic piece? And clearly our paramedic staffing has changed dramatically since 1982. Everybody's a paramedic now. There's a lot of other things that go into that. So I would like to see what that looks like, and are we underfunded if we were trying to use a partial assessment to fund, quote, paramedics and paramedic services? What does that look like? What would that need to be? That would be the extent of where I would want to go. My other question, similarly, is if we're talking about logistics facilities and whatnot, is the paramedic tax partial assessment applied to the donut hole? Or so those logistics facilities and all that stuff there, that's a moot point for them?
That's correct. We don't receive any property tax, parcel taxes from the donut hole. All of that goes to the county.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be the only thing that I would be, quite frankly, just interested in hearing kind of an overview of the paramedic piece. I quite frankly don't think we need to spend $55,000 on public opinion about a tax. I could save you that money and tell you right now what the public opinion probably is going to be. So that would be my thought on those. That's the only thing I'm interested in, is hearing a little bit more about the paramedic parcel tax.
Again, this is just food for thought for the council. It's something that during my time on the council, it's come across and we voted on several times. And so having had time to reflect on it a little bit more and do some math, just some basic initial math. Like I said, I didn't go deep into anything. I just wanted to make sure I understood what the thought process was back in 1982. And so, yeah, those options are there for the council. I'm agreeable with whatever the council wants to do.
Question for the city manager. So if we wanted, it sounds like Councilmember Barrich and maybe everybody would like a little bit more insight on this paramedic piece. Is that something we can do internally, kind of flush that out a little bit and see what has changed and where we, in a perfect world, where we would be, or do we need to go to a consultant and do a grandiose study for 6 figures for something like that?
I think we can come up with what the cost, certainly of staffing, would be quite easily, and probably some of the also costs of supplies and things like that for our paramedic service. So we could come up with a pretty good estimate for you of what it's costing and also what the paramedic tax is currently bringing in. Danielle, off the top of your head, you don't know the difference, do you?
We provide an excellent paramedic service. I commend the fire department for that. So
it's okay if you don't. It would be amazing if you did. But okay, but we can bring that back to you. I would say though, the longer that it takes to make a decision about bringing something to the voters, the more difficult it's going to be, just because there are a lot of logistics. I know this says we have to notify the county by August 11th. However, we really would have to do some public awareness and things like that, because it's quite easily for things to be confused, and it's, oh, you're raising our taxes, and are we raising it for everybody or just certain areas? The other thing is, I can say that certainly we would build a formula and bring it back to the council. We can set the formula at any amount to bring in the revenue you think we need. Now, whether the public will vote for it or not, that's we would have to see. But I can tell you we wouldn't lose revenue on it. We would build a formula that would in an estimate, bring back whatever target we're looking for.
And I'm not necessarily interested in even advancing it to an initiative for the voters at this point. My first ask would be, okay, this is the number we need to figure out and what we're taking from the general fund. Now let's look internally and see where we are with our Measure T funding and other things to see if there's other places to draw that from instead of pulling it from the general fund. Can it be supplemented through Measure T or other avenues before we go back?
Measure T is a general tax, so it goes into the general fund.
Okay.
And as we pull money for all fire services, all police services, and everything else that's coming from the general fund, except for the things that are earmarked, such as paramedic services. So pulling from one area of the general fund or another area doesn't really matter.
What's the note then in the staff report that talks about maybe we're taking from the general fund that the mayor was referring to?
Oh, well, if you were to raise this by a special tax that would be earmarked for fire, the money that is currently going from the general fund to pay for the extra paramedic services could be used for other things, such as new fire stations or something like
Okay,
that.
I
So
understand. Okay.
it's supplanting.
I misunderstood that.
It was a subsidy, and I couldn't find the word, but it was to subsidize the general fund, or the general fund was subsidizing the paramedics tax, and it hasn't had an escalator on it.
It absolutely is. I cannot tell you off the top of my head to what degree. The last time it was talked about a few years ago, I remember it being quite a bit. And so we'll get you those hard figures and let you know. And if the paramedic parcel assessment were to cover that and free up the general fund money, we'd be looking at diverting it to other uses. I can tell you right now, high on our list, we have a police building where the cost of the police building due to construction costs is going up, not because we're growing the building, but we also have on our books to build 3 other fire stations that we'd like to do in addition to staff 2 of those fire stations with new staff. So we have quite a bit of costs coming at us sometime in the future.
I would like to suggest that we table this and also talk to some of the stakeholders that could be involved and have some input and conversation before we give you direction. I would like to table all this until we do some outreach and some research on this.
Charlie, I have a question. Our building, can't we use bond money to build a new police station and fire station?
Well, we're planning on doing that. So it's always interesting. Bond is just assuming debt.
No, I understand that, but I mean, it's not.
Well, I'm saying it for the public. Well, the fact is we have to have debt service. We have to have the yearly payment back for principal and interest, and that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at coming up with the money to pay as you go the fire station, saving up $15 million and then just buying a fire station. What we're looking at is borrowing money over many decades. It could be up to 30 years where we finance it, and then we need the debt service, the yearly debt service, to be able to pay that back. So when we bond, that's all we're doing. It's like taking a mortgage out on a house. But we need to be able to make our monthly mortgage payment. The other thing is staffing for the fire stations are pretty expensive. And so adding that to our yearly operating and maintenance, we want to make sure we plan for it so that we can handle it when it comes.
Right. But it's a lot easier if we spread out the actual set costs. In other words, we're building a building. We're not.
The short answer is we're already doing that.
Yes. Okay.
So I agree with everything that was said. We have an amazing fire department, and I appreciate everything they do. I commend them every single time I can. But we also have an awesome police department that has its needs. We also have, somebody mentioned it, $3 million that we're no longer getting from Amazon just because of a simple redesignation. So that, it was. I'd like to see it as one-time funds while they were around. We could count on them while we had them, and now we don't have that. So, what you don't have, I think you got to look to recover, and that's one of the other major reasons why I looked into this. And I think it's important for us to really consider a lot of options. Every dollar that we have to put aside to pay back bond money is a dollar that we don't use to do something else, and so it's the same. In my opinion, I understand. I don't like raising taxes. I honestly don't. But I take this job, I'm a taxpayer just like everyone up here is a taxpayer, and I don't like paying more. It's a really bad feeling. But I think we really need to reflect on the numbers that come in that are presented to us, because they're not magic numbers. Those numbers are real numbers, and when they start to dwindle, we have to figure out. And I don't want us to be behind the 8 ball, last minute trying to pass something because we need it. So that's all I'm going to end my comments there. So just food for thought. And like I said, I'm happy to support whatever the council decides.
Any other comments or direction to the city manager? What I would like to see, and if there's support for it here, than just myself, is to be able to internally come and give us some options on the paramedic tax, what maybe internally those researchers or those options might be before we commit to doing a full consultant. Maybe within the month or 2 months, come back with some sort of internal report or data that would allow us a little more time or a little more information to make a better decision.
Certainly, with barring other direction, what I currently envision is us doing the calculations for what are we bringing in for the paramedic tax now? What do we believe the costs are, the best number we can get for that, and seeing what that differential is. And then if we took the current structure and raised it for each category, how much would you have to raise it to be able to reach that shortfall? And then that could be the starter for the conversation and see where you want to go from there.
I think you summarized it well. I think would be my.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah. Danielle, would
I
you be
have the
ready
most
by the
confidence
next
that
meeting to do that? I think we can put those calculations together pretty quickly. So, and we've got a crack finance team. So
Yeah, they won awards, so
they're good. They're good. And so we'll aim for the next council meeting to bring this information back to you. If for some reason we run into a hiccup, we'll notify you of what meeting we will bring it back to.
So that is my motion, and tabling everything else and just parceling out the.
We're just looking at item number 2.
Correct.
Yes.
Madam City Attorney?
Mayor and Council, if there's a consensus, that's probably good enough
Okay.
for the staff to move ahead on number 2.
All right.
Yeah, this is just direction. You haven't decided to actually do something yet.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. You have your direction. Moving on to item K1, consideration of a homeless resource service agreement with Many Mansions for property management services for the project Home Key located at 1675 Industrial Avenue, Redlands, 92373, for the amount not to exceed $300,000 for a period of 1 year, with 2 additional 1-year renewal options for a total compensation not to exceed $900,000, and determine that the services provided are exempt from the environmental review pursuant to Section 15061, B3 of the state guidelines implementing the California Environmental Quality Act. Assistant Manager, City Manager Boatman.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Our Homeless Solutions Manager, David Rabindranath, will be providing you a brief presentation on this.
Yes, thank you, city leadership and city council. So in early June, end of May, Step Up, our current property manager, did provide us a 30-day notice because they did close their property management portfolio throughout their whole company. So we have had a temporary property manager at our Project Home Key site. So in July, we did go through the RFP bid process and did put out a RFP. We did receive some interest, and then we did receive 1 bid. So we have been in talks with this agency prior because they are very familiar with Project Home Key throughout the state. They are based out of Thousand Oaks, Many Mansions. They do actually provide services and have a focus on permanent supportive housing and the unhoused population. They have about 22 properties throughout Southern California and 840 units that they provide supportive services and property management. And they have followed the Project Home Key grant for the last few years. So again, they are very familiar. So they did win the bid process with us. So today we are presenting, I apologize. We are presenting for a 1-year, $300,000 agreement with them, with the option to extend for 2 1-year terms past that. So, and then also, if you have any questions about mini mansions, we do have the president and CEO, Rick Schroeder and Doug Menges here from Mini Mansions. So do I have any questions?
Mayor, I just want to add, this is being funded through money we've already budgeted for this project. As the council may recall, we took the money that we had already pledged for the project through Project Home Key, and we're paying expenses directly from that budgeted amount. So this is not additional money that's needed.
Thank you. If your guests would like to introduce themselves, that would be great. At least give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves and
Get the elevator speech, hello, and a little idea.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Saucedo, members of the City Council, city staff. I'm Rick Schrader, President of Many Mansions, and with me,
I'm Doug Menges, the Executive Director.
we just wanted to thank the city and the City Council for giving us opportunity to help you and to help us, or to help assist those most in need of housing at this particular property. As was mentioned, we have very extensive experience in support of housing, both as property managers, as developers, and service providers. So we're excited about this opportunity, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and we look forward to working with you very closely.
So I have a question. It'll probably sound like a kind of an odd question, but how often, if this goes through and you're here in Redlands running that location, how often would somebody from your leadership team, for example, be coming out and paying a visit and being engaged in what's going on here?
Yeah, quite often. We have our whole property management division. Obviously, we will have 2 members of our staff on site at all times. And then we have a structure of assistant regional managers, vice presidents, Doug Menges, the executive director, president, and I. We'd be out here on a rotational basis overseeing it. We have a property that's under construction in the city of Riverside, and we're actually in conversations with some other communities about management opportunities as well. So,
Going to be my next question is where else in this region, say within a 30-mile radius, do you have any other properties out here? Again, to that piece of, I'm not interested in somebody that's going to be absentee.
Right.
There's a lot of a risk for us over there, so we want to make sure that it's really somebody's paying attention.
Absolutely, we agree with that. Currently, we do not. As I said, we have a property under construction in the city of Riverside, but we are in conversations with some adjoining communities.
Okay, thank you.
so have you had an opportunity to visit and have a meeting with our staff and let you know what's happening on the ground now, what's happened in the past?
We do, yes. We've had several meetings over the past, I think, probably 6 to 8 months, several visitations at the property, meetings with the prior staff, and we're currently gearing up and ramping up right now. Yes.
Oh, great. I appreciate that. And you answered my second question, that you've been out to the property, and I appreciate that, and your willingness to stay informed of, what's happening in the ground and stay engaged. So we really appreciate that. Any other
If I could say, it's a very nice property. The development, the rehab was very good, and I think it's an excellent property, and it's going to really serve this community very well for many years.
Well, thank you.
I think this, again, we have an opportunity. We've had some, and it wasn't your fault or even the city's fault because of the scandal, because of development, but I think gives it an opportunity to continue on with the program that's been, to me, I think, an example to the state, how to run a homeless program. And so I give it support. I think that's, and it's already budgeted, so I welcome. We've got to continue this program, because if we let it go, that's it, so.
Would you like to make the motion?
Yes.
Mayor, I
Yes.
think an important part too is they've taken over other Shangri-La properties, at least one, so they're very familiar with this transition.
Right.
We weren't going to use that word.
I don't use that. Somehow I don't like that particular company. I move that city determine approval of the Homeless Resource Service agreement with many mansions for property management services for the Project Home Key and exempt from environmental review pursuant to 15061B3 of the state guidelines implementing the California Environmental Quality Act. And I move the city council approve an agreement with many mansions in the amount not to exceed $300,000 for a period of 1 year with 2 additional 1-year renewals options for a total compensation not to exceed $900,000.
Before we get to a second, do we have any public comment? Any public comment on Zoom? Okay, now I'll entertain a second.
Sorry about that,
Second.
Mayor.
That was me. It's on me. We have a motion and a second by Davis, Councilmember Davis.
Councilmember Barrett.
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to item K2, consideration of the 2025-2026 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, in the amount of $3,226,470 from the County of San Bernardino, approve an additional appropriation of the same, and adopt resolution number 8715, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the grant agreement and all other related documents. Development Services Director DeSatnik.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This budget was originally presented back in December to the council for submittal to the county. And then when the federal budget is finally approved, we get final numbers and we bring back the programs for final acceptance. So as was stated, the total budget amount is $326,470. There is one capital project included that's just under $280,000, which is the replacement of restrooms and construction of pathways in Sylvan Park. And then there are 5 community-based organizations that will be funded. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions or comments? Are there any public comment? Any public comment on Zoom? None?
I move that the City Council accept the 2025-2026 Community Development Block Grant Funding Award in the amount of $326,470 and authorize an additional appropriation of $326,470 for the 2025-26 CDBG fiscal year. And I further move to adopt Resolution 8715, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute agreements, amendments, and other related documents associated with the 2025-2026 CDBG program year.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Moving on to item K3, consideration of a sole source procurement and memorandum of understanding between the City of Redlands and the Apple Valley Fire Protection District for outfitting services of fire department light fleet emergency vehicles for a not-to-exceed amount of $500,000 over the initial and extended terms. Fire Chief Sessler.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're recommending approval for a memorandum of understanding with the Apple Valley Fire Protection District. This agreement would allow Apple Valley to provide outfitting services for the fire department's light fleet emergency vehicles with initial 1-year costs not to exceed $250,000 and a total of maximum $500,000 over 5 years. Due to vendor delays in excess of 2 years, this agreement provides a timely and efficient solution for outfitting our light fleet, which includes chief officer command vehicles, community risk reduction vehicles, and support and utility vehicles. The fire department has allocated funds for this initial term through the mid-biennium budget process. Any additional funding, if needed, will be requested as part of the upcoming biennium budget process. This concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I just want to confirm, this is just for the upfitting. This isn't for ongoing maintenance, correct?
Correct, just outfitting the radios and lights. Yep.
Are we taking those vehicles up there, or are they coming down to our house?
We'll be taking them up there.
Okay, thank you. All right, any public comment? I don't see anybody. Any public comment on Zoom? None. What's the wish of the council?
I move that the City Council approve a sole source procurement via memorandum of understanding between the City of Redlands and the Apple Valley Fire Protection District for outfitting services of fire department light fleet emergency vehicles for a not to exceed amount of $500,000 over the initial and extended terms.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Item K4, consideration of a resolution of intention to approve an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System and the City Council and the City of Redlands Human Resources and Risk Management Director Matteau.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As recommended by CalPERS, staff proposes adopting a resolution of intention to remove the exclusion of all hourly employees and to utilize exclusion criteria under Government Code Section 20305. Adoption of the resolution of intention initiates the amendment process. At an upcoming council meeting, the city will introduce and adopt the ordinance authorizing the amendment to the contract. This concludes my report, and the staff is available for questions.
Is there any questions or comments? This is just a language change?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any public comment? Any public comment on Zoom? None? What's the wish of the council? I move that the city council adopt resolution of intention to approve an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administrations of the California Public Employees Retirement System and the city council and the city of Redlands to remove the hourly exclusion language from the contract.
Second.
Motion and second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Moving on to item K5, consideration of a public works contract with All American Building Services for the 2025 Alley Paving Improvement Project for an amount not to exceed $465,000. Is that 15 cents? And determine that the project is categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to section 15301C of the state guidelines for implementing the California Environmental Quality Act. Municipal Utilities and Engineering Director Harris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is our annual alley reconstruction project that we design and bid in-house. The goal this year is to reconstruct 4 alleys. There's a location map in your staff report if you're curious about where they are. They're kind of all throughout the city. We issued a bid notice in August of this year and received 11 bids back. Earlier than August. We received 11 bids back in July. Those are all listed in your staff report. And All American Building Services, they submitted the lowest responsive bid at, it always cracks me up when it's $465,000 and 15 cents. You got to get the 15 cents in there. The funding is included in our budget this year. No additional appropriations necessary, and assuming approval, the project will be complete within 45 days after we issue a notice to proceed. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions? The 15 cents doesn't even cover postage, right?
I don't know what you do with 15 cents.
All right. Any public comment? Any public comment on Zoom? What's the wish of the council?
I'll move that the city council determine approval of the contract and construction of the 2025 Alley Paving Improvement Project is categorically exempt from environmental review in accordance with section 15301C of the state's guidelines implementing CEQA. And I move that the city council approve the 2025 Alley Paving Improvement Project plans and specifications and award a public works contract to All American Building Services for an amount not to exceed $465,000 and 15 cents.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Barrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Saucedo?
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to individual council member announcements and/or reports on activities. We'll start over here on my left. None?
None.
Okay, we'll still go with it.
Okay. It was a night. I thought it was the Redlands Police Officers Association car show this weekend, but I'm told it's not. Anyway, I went to a great car show this weekend at Sylvan Park. It was really good. Also, there was a memorial for Charlie Kirk. It was about 300-400 people there. It's such a shame to lose such a young gentleman, whether you agree with his politics or not. And I just hope that's not an indication what this country's going to.
Madam Councilmember
Sure.
Davis?
Just a couple things. I participated in an event with the UCR School of Public Policy students. They were interviewing me in my council member capacity, even though I worked there in my day job. It was council member related. Great to be with students, of course. And then in that vein, the youth council applications are now open, accepting applications. So looking forward to the 5th cohort.
Thank you. And my report is that I attended a Mobility 21, a Power of Partnership in Anaheim. It was all the surrounding agencies of the transportations, Orange County, Riverside, LA County Metro, and we had 3 or 4 sessions that were talking about the readiness and resilience of our transportation resources. And just like we have need to be ready for any disaster? What are the plans for any transportation's disaster and the resilience of those things? We had a session on the Olympics coming, the Paralympics, the transportation, all the levels of athletes coming early. Can they move these people around? Can we move everybody, not only the spectators, but the athletes? And so it's going to be a very collaborative endeavor to try to move all these folks, not only with the Paralympics, the Olympics, but I think the World Cup's coming as well. And so it was a great opportunity to network with all the different transportation agencies. Our former SBCTA executive director was acknowledged for his lifetime achievement at an award at one of these sessions. And then on Saturday, I was fortunate enough to be on the new one-of-a-kind in the nation of the ZEMU train, which ran from San Bernardino to Redlands. Oh, you did? Because they were riding it all day long, right? Yeah, so I rode it into San Bernardino and I rode it back here to Redlands and was giving everybody that was sitting next to me, oh yeah, here's Escape Brewery, here's, Jay Riley's, here's, Santa Fe Depot, you go Public Market. And so it was a great opportunity to highlight our transportation of the ZEMU. It's a zero emissions multiple unit. It runs on hydrogen that powers electricity. So it was a very innovative and opportunity to ride a train that will eventually be powered by non-diesel, non-fuel components. So that was the highlight of my week. So moving on to...
Mayor,
Yes?
Sorry, can I interrupt real quick? I was
Absolutely.
hoping you'd mentioned that we went to the Smiley Live
Oh,
event.
yes, thank you. Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to thank Library Director Don McHugh for bringing Smiley Live, especially during Hispanic Heritage Month. He always looks to bring some sort of performer, and he found a good one this year. So thanks very much to his work and the library staff as well. So
Yeah, it was well attended. There was a lot of people dancing. The music was great, and it was a great evening of honoring Hispanic Heritage Month. So moving on to
Mayor, aren't we dedicating this meeting to someone?
if you
Do we do it now, or do we do it at the end?
At the adjournment.
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you. Well, we've got the Finance Authority. So I'll approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 25. Secretary Donaldson.
So you got to adjourn the first meeting.
Okay, we'll
and
adjourn
then
the first, we'll adjourn the,
We can adjourn in memory of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, I'd
that
like to, yes, we adjourned in the memory of Charlie Kurt. Again, a fine young gentleman, whether you agree in his politics or not, but he was involved. And to be cut short like that, it's hard to comprehend that we have such violence there, that we have such hate. And I sure hope this, again, like I said before, I just hope this is not indicative of what's going to happen in the future. That we have to keep our mind open. And he was always very good about debating, and he never condemned anybody, contrary to what you may hear. So again, I think it's a shame we lost a very, very dynamic young voice in the United States.
thank you. I'll now adjourn the regular city council meeting of the city council, and our next regular meeting will be held on October 7th, 2025. I'll now call to order the Redlands Financing Authority and okay. Any public comment on the Redlands Financing Authority? Seeing none, hearing none, and we'll move to the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Can you clarify who did
Oh,
what?
first and second.
I moved it. Eddie, second.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Barrich,
Yes.
Board Member Tejeda,
Yes.
Board Member Davis,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Shaw,
Yes.
and Chairman Saucedo.
Yes, adjourning the Redlands Financing Authority meeting till the next Redlands Financing Authority meeting will be held on January 20th, 2026. We now stand adjourned. Thank you. 7.